Sophia was sitting in her small kitchen. The room was quiet, except for the sound of her son Gabriel coloring at the table. She looked at him and smiled, but inside she felt tired. Life had been different lately. "My name is Sophia," she thought. "I am 35 years old. I live with my husband, Marco, and our son, Gabriel. He is 6 years old. We live in a small apartment in the city. Life has always been simple, but it was happy." She glanced at the empty chair at the table. Marco was supposed to be home for dinner, but once again, he was late. Sophia sighed, trying not to let her frustration show. One evening, Sophia noticed Marco's phone on the kitchen counter. It buzzed, and a message appeared. The screen lit up with the words, "I miss you." Her heart sank. "I didn't know what to think," she whispered to herself. "But I knew something was wrong." The next day, Sophia couldn't stop thinking about the message. "I miss you. Who sent it? And why?" Her mind was full of questions. That evening, she decided to talk to Marco. He was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone. Sophia walked over and sat next to him. "Marco," she said softly, "I saw a message on your phone yesterday. It said, 'I miss you.' Who was it from?" Marco looked up, surprised. His face changed, and he frowned. "It's just a friend," he said quickly. "Don't make a big deal out of it." Sophia wanted to believe him, but something didn't feel right. Marco didn't look her in the eyes. He stood up and walked to the kitchen, leaving Sophia sitting alone on the couch. I trusted Marco, Sophia thought. But now, I wasn't sure if I could. Over the next few weeks, Marco's behavior changed even more. He started coming home late, sometimes after midnight. When Sophia asked where he had been, he always said, "At work." But Sophia didn't believe him. She noticed other things too. Marco started spending more time on his phone, smiling at messages she couldn't see. He also seemed distant. At dinner, he hardly talked to her or Gabriel. Sophia felt more alone than ever. One night, Marco left his phone on the table and went to the bathroom. Sophia stared at it. She didn't want to invade his privacy, but her heart was full of doubt. Finally, she picked it up and looked at the messages. There were dozens of texts from the same person. The messages said things like, "I miss you," and "I can't wait to see you." Sophia felt her hands shake. Her heart was pounding. She put the phone down just as Marco walked back into the room. He saw her and his face turned red. "Why are you touching my phone?" he shouted. "You have no right to look at my things." Sophia was scared, but she stood her ground. "I needed to know, Marco," she said. "I deserve the truth." Marco didn't answer. He grabbed his phone and left the room. After that night, things got worse. Marco started avoiding Sophia. He left early in the morning and came home late. When he was home, he spent most of his time on his phone or watching TV. He hardly spoke to Sophia or Gabriel. Sophia felt like a stranger in her own home. I didn't know how to talk to him anymore, she thought. It was like he didn't care about me or our family. One afternoon, Sophia decided to call Marco while he was at work. Maybe he will talk to me if I call him, she thought. She picked up her phone and dialed his number. Hello. Marco answered. His voice was cold and distant. Marco, can we talk? Sophia asked carefully. I feel like something is wrong between us. I'm busy, Sophia, Marco said quickly. We'll talk later. But later never came. Every time Sophia tried to talk, Marco got angry or changed the subject. Sophia felt helpless. She wanted to fix things, but Marco didn't seem to care. One night, Gabriel asked her, Mom, why doesn't Dad play with me anymore? Sophia didn't know what to say. She hugged her son and whispered, I don't know, Gabriel. I'm so sorry. Sophia started noticing more changes. Marco was spending more money, but he never told her where it went. She checked their bank account and saw charges from expensive restaurants and stores. Sophia knew he wasn't spending that money on their family. I felt lost, Sophia thought. I didn't know what to do. But I knew I couldn't let things stay like this. Sophia couldn't sleep. Every night, she lay awake, thinking about Marco. She wanted answers. She needed to know what was happening in her family. But Marco wouldn't talk to her. One evening, Marco left his phone on the kitchen table and went to take a shower. Sophia stared at it. Her heart was racing. I don't want to do this, she thought. But I can't live with these doubts. She picked up the phone and checked his call history. A number appeared again and again. Marco called it almost every day, sometimes late at night. Sophia wrote the number down and put the phone back just as Marco returned. What are you doing with my phone? He asked sharply. Nothing, Sophia said quickly, trying to stay calm. Marco grabbed the phone, frowned, and walked away without saying another word. The next day, Sophia thought about the number. Should she call it? Her hands shook as she held the phone, but she decided not to. I'm not ready, she thought. I need to prepare myself for whatever I might hear. Instead, Sophia spent time with Gabriel. She watched him play and draw, and she felt the weight of her decisions. Whatever happens, she thought, I have to stay strong for him. The phone number stayed on Sophia's mind. She couldn't stop thinking about it. Who is this person? She wondered. Her heart felt heavy, but she knew she needed answers. That evening, when Marco came home, Sophia decided to talk to him. He was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone. She took a deep breath and sat down beside him. Marco, she began, I need to ask you something. What is it? He replied, not looking up from his phone. I found a number on your call history. You call it every day. Who is it? She asked. Marco froze. For a moment, he didn't say anything. Then he frowned and said, Why are you looking at my phone? You have no right. Sophia felt her chest tighten. I looked because I need to know what's going on, she said firmly. Are you seeing someone else? Marco stood up and walked away. You're imagining things, he said angrily. Stop making problems for no reason. Is it no reason? Sophia asked, her voice shaking. You're never home. You're always on your phone. Gabriel is starting to notice, Marco. What are you doing to our family? Marco didn't answer. He grabbed his coat and left the house without another word. Sophia sat alone on the couch, her heart breaking. Tears filled her eyes, but she wiped them away quickly. Gabriel walked into the room and looked at her. Mom, is everything okay? He asked softly. Sophia hugged him tightly. Everything will be okay, she whispered, though she wasn't sure if it was true. That night, Sophia promised herself that she would protect her son, no matter what. She knew she had to stay strong, even if it meant facing the truth alone. Sophia sat on a bench in the park, watching Gabriel play with other children. The sun was warm, and the air felt fresh. She took a deep breath and smiled. For the first time in months, she felt calm. Over the past weeks, Sophia had made changes in her life. Painting helped her feel happy again. She sold some of her paintings at the market. The money wasn't much, but it gave her confidence. She realized she could take small steps to build a better future. Marco still stayed distant. He came home late and spent most of his time on his phone. Sophia didn't try to talk to him anymore. She focused on herself and Gabriel. I cannot change Marco, she thought, but I can change my life. One evening while cooking dinner, Gabriel looked at Sophia and said, Mom, you smile more now. Sophia smiled at him. Yes, Gabriel. I feel better because I know we are strong together. We will be okay. Gabriel hugged her. You are the best mom, he said. That night, Sophia sat at the kitchen table and painted. The colors on the canvas felt like hope. She thought about how much her life had changed. It was still hard, but she was proud of herself. She was building a future for herself and her son, step by step. Sophia looked at Gabriel's drawing on the fridge. It was a picture of them together, smiling. She smiled and thought, we are going to be okay.